Somewhere in northern Arizona, flash floods spent 6 million years carving a corridor so narrow you can touch both walls at once. At noon in high summer, a single shaft of sunlight drops through the opening above and turns the sandstone walls into something that no longer looks like rock. It looks like the inside of a flame, frozen at the moment of its brightest point. In the 5th century, a king named Kashyapa killed his father, seized his throne, and then, apparently convinced this was not dramatic enough, built his palace on top of a 200-meter volcanic rock rising from the Sri Lankan jungle. The only access was a staircase passing through the open jaws of a colossal stone lion carved into the cliff face. The lion's body has crumbled. The paws remain exactly where he left them. After the rainy season ends in Bolivia, a shallow layer of water settles across 10,000 square kilometers of salt flat, and something occurs that has no simple name. The surface becomes a mirror so precise that satellites use it to calibrate their instruments from orbit. You walk across it, and the sky is below your feet. The horizon disappears. You are standing inside the clouds, and there is no ground. In 14th century Greece, Byzantine monks looked at near-vertical sandstone pillars rising 300 meters from the valley floor and decided that was where they would build their monasteries. They arrived by rope basket, hauled up by hand. They prayed suspended above the world, cut off from it by the rock itself. 24 monasteries were built. 6 remain occupied. The rope baskets are still there. They use them for supplies. A local farmer in Vietnam found the entrance in 1991 and kept it to himself. The roar of wind from the opening frightened him away. It wasn't fully explored until 2009. Hang Son Doong is the largest cave passage on Earth, wide enough to fly a Boeing 747 through. A jungle grows inside it, fed by light from a 90-meter collapse in the ceiling. It has its own weather system, its own clouds. Twice each day, the sea rises 14 meters around a granite island off the Normandy coast and cuts it off entirely from the mainland. An abbey has stood on that island since the 8th century. In the Middle Ages, pilgrims crossed the tidal flats on foot. Those who misjudged the tide were not recovered. Through the 100 Years' War, through the Revolution, through 2 world wars, the abbey was never taken. The tide did the defending. Japan's sacred volcano last erupted in 1707, when it buried the capital city of Edo in ash for 2 weeks. It has not moved since. In the 12 centuries since pilgrims first climbed it for religious devotion, it has been depicted in over 30,000 works of art. Katsushika Hokusai alone painted it 36 times. Not because the mountain changed, but because the light did. And Hokusai intended to catch every version before he died. The Tonga and Lozi peoples who lived beside it for centuries called it Mosi Oa Tunya, the smoke that thunders. It is the largest curtain of falling water on Earth, 1,700 meters wide and over 100 meters tall. The spray rises 300 meters and is visible from 50 kilometers away. David Livingstone was the first European to see it in 1855. He described it as the most beautiful sight he had witnessed in Africa. Then he named it after the Queen. It rises 348 meters above the desert floor, but that figure understates it entirely. The majority of Uluru's mass lies underground, invisible, extending deep into the earth below what you see. The Anangu people have lived beside it for at least 10,000 years. To them, it is not a landmark or a tourist destination. It is a living ancestor. It is 600 million years old. It predates complex life on this planet. On the spring and autumn equinoxes, the afternoon sun strikes El Castillo at the precise angle required to cast the shadow of a serpent descending the northern staircase. 7 triangles of light forming a body. connecting a carved stone head at the base to the sky above. The Maya built this alignment into the pyramid over 1,000 years ago. No computer assisted them. No surveying instruments as we understand them. It works to the minute, every equinox, without adjustment. When the Colosseum opened in 80 AD, Emperor Titus celebrated 100 consecutive days of games. The arena held 80,000 people. Beneath the wooden floor lay a 6-meter underground labyrinth of tunnels, elevators, and cages, the hypogeum, from which animals and fighters were lifted through trapdoors directly into the arena. Over 4 centuries of continuous operation, historians estimate 400,000 people died inside this building. It was not considered a tragedy. It was considered entertainment. The Nabateans built a city for 30,000 people in the Jordanian desert, and then concealed it behind a kilometer of narrow gorge. At its widest, the Sikh is 3 meters across. The walls above you rise 80 meters on both sides, and there is no sky. You walk through it in near darkness, and then the crack opens, and the treasury is there, carved directly into the rose-red cliff. 2 stories tall, columns, urns, gods, all cut from solid sandstone 23 centuries ago. There is nothing gradual about the moment. It is simply not there, and then it is. The Khmer Empire built Angkor Wat in the 12th century. At its peak, the surrounding city housed over 1 million people, making it the largest pre-industrial urban settlement on Earth. When the empire collapsed and the city was abandoned, the jungle consumed it so completely. Trees splitting towers, roots engulfing galleries, canopy closing overhead, that the outside world had no knowledge of its existence for 5 centuries. A French explorer named Henri Mouhot stumbled across it in 1860. He did not believe it could have been built by the ancestors of those he met living nearby. He was wrong. The Colorado River has been cutting through the Arizona Plateau for 6 million years. The result is a canyon 277 miles long, 18 miles wide, and a mile deep. The walls of that canyon expose 2 billion years of geological record, each layer a different stripe of color, each color a different age of the Earth, stacked visibly on top of one another from rim to river. It is less a canyon than a cross-section of time, standing on its edge. The Great Wall is not one wall. It is the accumulated total of walls, built by dozens of dynasties, across 2,000 years. 21,000 kilometers in all, running from the Yellow Sea to the Gobi Desert. An estimated 400,000 workers died during its construction. Many were buried within the foundations themselves. From the air, it follows the mountain ridgelines like a seam, as though someone had stitched this country together from the outside, and the thread is still showing. In 1631, Mumtaz Mahal died giving birth to her 14th child. Her husband, the Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan, responded by commissioning a tomb of white marble and semi-precious stone, built by 20,000 workers over 22 years. The result is a building that changes color through the day: pink at dawn, brilliant white at noon, gold at dusk, silver under the moon. Its surface is never the same twice. When the Taj Mahal was complete, Shah Jahan was imprisoned by his own son in a fort across the Yamuna River. He spent his remaining years looking at it through a single window. They found him at that window when he died. It is the largest living structure on Earth, 2,300 kilometers of coral reef, 500,000 years in the making. The only organism visible from space. It supports 30% of all ocean species on the planet. It has persisted through ice ages, through the rise and fall of sea levels, through every mass extinction but one. In the past decade alone, rising ocean temperatures have bleached more than 50% of its coral. The reef is not disappearing slowly. It is collapsing in real time. We did not build it. We are dismantling it without ever touching it. The Inca built their city at 2,400 meters above sea level, without iron tools, without the wheel, and without a written language. They fitted granite blocks together with a precision so extreme that in 5 centuries of earthquakes, not one stone has shifted. The Spanish conquered the Inca Empire. They destroyed Cusco. They melted down the gold of the empire. But they never found Machu Picchu. It sat above the clouds, invisible, unknown to the outside world for 400 years, until a local farmer walked a Yale professor up the hillside in 1911 and showed him what was there. At 100 kilometers above the surface of the Earth, charged particles streaming from the sun collide with atmospheric gases and release light, green, violet, white, occasionally red, in curtains that move across the sky like something alive. The ancient Norse called it the Bifrost, the burning rainbow bridge between the world of men and the realm of the gods. We have understood the physics of it for less than a century. The experience of standing beneath it, head back, in the dark, in the cold, has not changed at all. The Great Pyramid of Giza was completed around 2560 BCE. For the next 3,800 years, a span longer than the entire recorded history of Western civilization, it was the tallest structure on Earth. It was built with 2.3 million stone blocks. Some weigh 80 tons. They were fitted to tolerances of less than half a centimeter. 6 of the original 7 wonders of the ancient world are gone. Earthquakes took one. Fire took another. Time, neglect, and human hands took the rest. The pyramids remain. They were already ancient when Christ was born. They will likely outlast everything we have built since.